In this lesson, we're going to be talking about different skills that are required or will be learned as part of this series of videos. So initially, just for basic computing, you need a basic understanding of operating systems and how they work and how to work them. There are going to be several fundamental types of tasks that I won't be going into any detail at all on. You'll need to know how to run programs and do things like open up a command prompt without me walking you through how to do that. I'm going to assume that you have some basic understanding of how to do those sorts of tasks. You need an understanding of basic system software, and you'll need a basic understanding of how to use command line utilities. There are a number of tools and programs that we're going to be going over through this series of videos. Many of them use the command line, whether it's on Windows or Linux. You need to be familiar with typing and being able to run programs from the command line and the various command line switches and parameters that those types of programs use. From a networking perspective, you need a basic understanding of some simple networking concepts. Know what cables are and switches and hubs and how systems are networked together. You don't need a deep level of networking understanding. I'll be going through some protocols at a reasonably deep level because I think it's important as an ethical hacker to understand what's going on at the protocol level so that you can know better what you are doing and how to achieve the goals and tasks that you have before you. So we're going to be going over some protocols, so just understanding what protocols are and how they go together, those sorts of things are necessary from a networking perspective. Life skills. Yes, there are some life skills that it's important to have. I think the most important one is the ability to accept failure and persevere. By that, I mean that you're going to be running across several things that just don't work the first time around, and it's going to take a little bit of stick-to-itiveness to plug away and keep going until you get something to work. And the way that you get things to work is having an ability to problem solve. And sometimes solving problems requires being a little creative. Sometimes you need to think out of the box and come at a problem from a different perspective in order to find the solution and the way forward. You're going to run across a lot of sticky problems through the course of learning about being an ethical hacker and just doing the work, because it's not as simple as, here's a little recipe for how to do this, now go follow this recipe every time and you're going to be successful. Every situation is different, every system is different. You're going to run across some pretty sticky problems that you're going to have to just wade into and get your hands dirty with and keep failing and failing and failing until you find a way to succeed. So I think those skills are very necessary to learning how to be an ethical hacker and digging through some of the material that we'll be going over in these videos. As far as what you're going to be learning, you're going to learn how to use a lot of tools. You're going to learn networking. And by that I mean we're going to be talking about different protocols that are involved in networking systems together. You're going to learn about security. Security is the heart and soul of ethical hacking. It's why we do ethical hacking, in order to make systems and networks more secure than they were previously. That's the goal. From a networking perspective, we're going to be talking about how to read packets from network captures. We're going to go into TCP/IP and related protocols in a fairly significant amount of detail. You're going to understand how protocols interact with one another. So we're going to do all of that, and the reading packets is going to be really important. We're going to do a fair amount of that, in addition to just a fundamental approach to learning how to read packets. In several lessons, we're going to read packets as a way of understanding the different tools that we're using and how they work. You're going to learn tactics and methodologies. You're going to learn ways to use the information you've gathered in order to get more information. And information is really what this is all about. You can't do much of anything without information, and sometimes it takes a fair bit of digging in order to find that information, and what you're going to learn is the entry points and the stepping stones to get the information that you need. And then once you have that information, you're going to be learning about ways to exploit it in order to get deeper into the target. You're going to learn security awareness. We're going to be talking about risk and understanding risk and vulnerabilities, primarily recognizing the difference between a vulnerability and an exploit, and there's a significant difference there. So security awareness and understanding what a risk is and how that impacts your target is going to be pretty key to a lot of things that we talk about. So it sounds like a lot. We're going to cover a fair bit of ground, not all of it at a deep level. Sometimes we're going to skim the surface, but there's an awful lot of material to cover. So let's get started.